Yeah, I've been, sitting around the campfire, just kind of, reminiscing over old hunts that I've been on that just really had a good time. One of my absolute favorites, my buddy Emery and I decided, well, let's do something different this year. Let's go on a goose hunt up into Saskatchewan. And, we looked it up on the internet and we found that, there's this place that we could stay at this lodge that did both deer hunting and goose hunting. And they would take us out and, I think we signed up for like 3 days or something. And, maybe a couple $100 a day is all we paid. And we drove all the way up there to save money. It wasn't a very expensive trip for us. I doubt if we spent $1,000 a piece, with motels and food and everything. So we get up there and the first thing when we walk in this lodge, there's a big pelt of a timber wolf on the wall, and then there's just all this outdoor stuff that you just don't normally see. This is about as far north as wheat grows, about the middle of Saskatchewan, and that's what they advertised in their goose hunting thing. It says, okay, this is where the geese really come to congregate. This is the northernmost wheat in the country, and so we went up there, and the first night there was just this. Northern lights came down and they just flooded the sky. I mean, we went out and laid on the lawn and just watched for over an hour. And the next day, this big timber wolf runs through the yard. It must have been 150 pounds. So we're really kind of, this is exciting. And the aspen trees in this area, the day we got there, they were green. The next day, they were yellow. 2 days later, they were on the ground, and they had this sweet smell to them that it was just fantastic. I mean, just that still etched in my memory after all these years. And the guides took us to this field they had. They put out some decoys and they said, okay, about another half hour they ought to start coming up from off the lake and start looking for food, and they should be coming by here. So there's going to be two parties, you guys and these other guys. And just kind of take turns, make sure that you let them get some shooting too, and let a few geese go by if they come by you first, and etc. And so the geese started coming in, and it was the most fantastic hunt I've ever seen. I mean, we were getting, I think the limit was, we could bring back 10 birds. I can't remember how many we shot every day. But whatever the limit was, we had no trouble getting it. So at the end of the hunt, we brought back the 10 birds we were allowed, and then we had to clean them ourselves. So there's a lot of plucking and stuff that we had to do. But we didn't just do goose hunting. We one day they decided, okay, we'll take you out for sharp-tailed grouse. Well, they took us to this area that is kind of rolling hills around the aspen trees, etc., with kind of grassy fields. They took us, and this one guy had 2 pointers with him, and he said, okay, you go over this way, you guys can hunt that hill over there. And so we walk around, and this flock of chukars get up, and they were out of range. They were probably 75 yards in front of us when they got up, and I watched them, and we'd been walking for an hour or so. That's the first ones we saw. There's probably about 8 birds there, and they must have flown half a mile or better. But we hadn't seen a lot, so I kind of marked where they went down, and we walked over there, and they get up out of range, but they let us get a little bit closer that time. And they flew another half a mile, and so I'm just going to keep following these guys. So about the third time that I got to where I thought they landed, they waited too long, and I got off a shot, and I knocked down 3 birds with one shot. It was amazing. I hadn't done that before. And, so we wound up, I think, with 5 birds for the day, and the guy with the 2 pointers never got a one. Boy, we razzed him and gave him a bad time. But then next day we walked in a woods looking for forest grouse, and, that's when we smelled this, all this aspen leaves on the ground. But, the deer hunter that hunters that come up there, they paid like $5,000 just to hunt these trophy animals, big horns on them, and they didn't even keep the meat. You know, they paid $5,000, shot a deer, and just kept the horns. And I couldn't believe that. I mean, that was, you know, just wasn't part of my makeup to be able to not use your meat. But anyway, a lot of memories in that hunt, and you know, that was one of those times you kind of look back in your life and say, wow, you know, I'm sure glad I did that, you know, and experienced what it was like. And when I came back with all those goose, you know, I plucked them and cleaned them. I actually even hired a kid to help me pluck them and stuff, and I had all these geese sitting around. What am I going to do with these? So I would call up some of my friends and go to their wives and say, you know, hey, can I give you a goose? And, you know, some of them looked at me a little funny, but, you know, when I handed them a bird, they understood, you know.